everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. My name is Sarah Chiu. I am presenting this program called Basket Starfish, our language core. And this is only my second week, so I am still a little bit nervous. So I hope you can bear with me when I'm learning how to work all these gadgets. And let me see, 1 second. And okay, here I am. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as I said, it's my 20 years of research, and I am very glad that CCTV Cambridge gave me a chance to present this. And I hope I can make you understand my view, which is a woman's view, and also is not academic, because I look at the world through a pair of traveler's eyes. And I am going to present to you my research, in the form of PowerPoint. If I know how to get it big, yes, here it is. And okay, 1 second. I hope I am not going too fast or too slow, so you can follow me. First of all, about this language core, I believe that all human language, has one core. And my perspective again as a female traveler from the East versus the male academic and pure Western view. And of course, I am limited too, because I believe everyone has limited vision influenced by our own upbringing, gender, culture, and language. No one sees it all. Only an integrated view will enable us to see a fuller and more balanced picture. So I hope you can let my view, entered into this big discussion with the linguist, which I find a little bit difficult to communicate with, because they don't think a woman's view, at least most of them I try to get in touch with, they don't think, that my point of view is any valid. And first of all, I want to continue what I couldn't finish last week. It was because there was a fire alarm, and now I try to finish my last slide last week, which I was trying to explain why pictograph has certain advantage over the alphabetic writing system. And let me get back to where I was. I said writing confuses sound. As you can see from the picture, it is obviously a valley. And it wasn't until I get to the desert I see the real power of water that can change the landscape so much into something so green. So in Chinese, there is this writing. Last week I didn't get to explain, how do you read early Chinese writing. And as you can see, it is actually very clear. There is this tree growth here, and then there is the river flowing in between with the person trying to cross over. And of course, what you see, it is kind of a valley. And in Chinese, since ancient time, we have the pronunciation of what, which means depression and a dense overgrowth or something dark green. And as time goes by, because this word is a little bit too difficult to write, and it was kind of, completely taken up by the meaning green, so we borrowed another word with the same pronunciation, which means crooked bend, or actually somewhere that you have to turn back. Of course, when you get to the source of the river, it's a dead end, you do have to turn back. And then I try to show you, that these words are being used in real life, and that is the map of Hong Kong. As you can see this what here, whenever you see that what in a Chinese map in Hong Kong, you're bound to see this kind of geographic feature, which you understand that is a valley. So a lot of people already knew that, the word wadi comes from the Arabic word wat and wadi, which means a valley, a gully, or raven, depends on the landscape. And then in Hebrew, you see the writing is totally guessable, you know, but then we know that the reading is actually similar to Arabic, meaning the same. In French, you know, they would be spelling out the sound like that, you know, without really knowing how you should read it. It's really difficult to try to understand what that word really means. But then we know that it should be read as wet, and which means wadi. And of course, you know, I travel around for the last 30 something years and concentrate in the last 20 years in language. I use mostly my ear to understand people. A lot of the time I don't know how to read or write other people's writing. So you can bet that the English wet, you know, actually is very close to this wet, you know, in French. And then of course you have the direct wadi or valley. And imagine if I cover up all these words, and if you just look at the writing itself, it is really hard for you to know what kind of thing you're really looking at. But as you can see, the Chinese writing, the pictogram here, is actually lets you see very clearly what sort of geographic situation you are expecting to see, which is really a wadi or valley. And now I can show you a better picture that the what, which means green or wet or vegetation, and actually has a very clear picture when I go to a places far from what we call development, that you can see very clearly the geographic makeup is exactly like what the writing was like. And then as far as we think that we speak different languages, you know, I like to pick up old books which was not standardized by modern printing method. Sometimes I pick up some Latin books or some old Italian books. You will see that the word green will be spelled like this, you know, instead of a V, it will be a U. So now everybody, you know, will be writing it this way because it's been standardized because of the television and the printing method, and it will be pronounced as verde. But if you look at it carefully, there's all the possibility of a dialectic Italian or Latin will be pronouncing it as uede, uede, uede. And you see, this is very similar to this word. So there was a time that, you know, we actually were speaking very similar sound to mean very similar thing, because this verde actually for the Italian it still means green and anything to do vegetable or vegetation. So this ve actually has connection. And okay, now let me continue on, you know, with the other slides. And in this following slides, I want to show you the Western alphabets are also ideographic or pictorial, and as far as it has changed after thousands of years, and I can bring you back some of the images for you to compare. Have you ever wondered why all these words started with an H? You know, H here, they do not actually acted as a sound indicator. It also acted as a visual indicator for the early speakers. You know, either you halt the people or where there's a hedge or herd, and even this word is very obvious. It's pronounced as air, right? You don't actually pronounce the H. Why is the H standing there if not for visual indicator? And I will show you, because now I'm going to show you the development of the H word, you know, H alphabet I should say. This is Sumerian, and it has an H sound, and this H actually means to whirl around, as you can see, and you should look at it 90 degrees straight. And then this is another one, has to do with weaving and all those early trilling work, and it's also with an H, it's pronounced as high, and you can see that it's trailing. And this is Old Hungarian runic, which, you know, no one knows exactly when it started, but there was a guess that it was somehow 1,000 years ago. And then this is their H alphabet. As you can see, you know, they are all similar. And this is Greek, and the Greek actually has two different H's. And because I do not want to confuse you, because H has two different ways. One is that very light, airy sound, which is actually means air. And then because the Greek cannot deal with that, so they only stay with this X sign, which is hair here, and each every hair word, I should say no, but animal hair though, has to have this symbol, and this is an ch, in Greek sound, and this is hieroglyph, the H sound, and as you can see, this is actually everything to do with the thread and the string. And this is South Arabic, which is around the Yemen area at the moment. And then this is the H sound, as you can see. It is actually part of the trilling, thing. And this is Chinese Hai. We call it Hai. This is also an H. As you can see, the hieroglyph and the Chinese are almost identical. And the Chinese also have other ways, because it has everything to do with a rope of string. So as you can see, this is to tie somebody up. Unfortunately, this means a slave. And then also this is something to do with your belonging, your possession. Also slave is part of your belonging. So this is Arabic, also the H and Arabic. And this Canada is a South Indian language, and then they actually said that it belonged to what they call Dravidian. This, as you can see, this should be completely different language family, as they call, but you can see how close they are. And now this is also another way of writing the Chinese Hai, which means the lineage, and then the system. And then this, I'm going back to Sumerian. As you can see, this twisting thread here, it means a child. And this for Chinese is the descendant, as you can see, still holding that thread. And what is that thread but the umbilical cord here, right here. And then I want to bring you the hieroglyph. Hieroglyph has this Hubble-like thing, and of course, when you tie the whole herd up, you use that thing. And then hieroglyph has 4 different symbol to represent H. As you can see, all ancient writing system has actually many H sounds. And why is it that I will go into detail later. But at this moment, I try to show you, the connection from east to west. And this is also Sumerian writing for the wool. And what you see here is actually what they call a clay token. They used this in trading in ancient time to represent any wool product. And as you can see, this is connected to the writing itself, but the writing, because it's limited to the clay tablet, so it cannot be round. But the hieroglyph actually took it as a round shape. They all means, something to do with the hair itself. And then this is the rope itself in Sumerian. And then now we begin to get to Proto-Sinaitic, and this in the Sinai area, long before all other writing system, there is this writing symbols. These all are the H. One is horizontal, the other is vertical. Why is it? Because it actually makes sense. If you have a rope, you hold it, the rope actually links you up with something. But if you put it the other way, it actually bars you from entering something. So it depends on how he put. Actually, this H can convey different meanings. And this is ancient Hebrew. Again, they have 2 different ways of putting the H. And this is the Chinese word, meaning to subdue someone and hold others, to control someone else. As you can see, this is also the thread look symbol. And this is Phoenician, as you can see. And then from Phoenician, everybody knows that it gets to Greek, and then to your Latin H. As you can see, from here to here to here, you also make a circle. It goes back to the original form. You can see that the H, at some point, it has a close connection with a rope or a thread. It has everything to do with the earliest technology in human development. And then I circle out all this for you. All these few, they do have a different pronunciation. But other than all those with the red circle, all these has the H sound, to go with them. And then I want you to think a little bit, symbols and signs and script, they were not dead signs. A lot of them are mean to convey motion. As you see just now that the H writing at the beginning, they all meant to let you see that it's twirling around. And then in this program today, I'm going to concentrate on the H word to let you see all this development. And as you can see, the hobo is to hold the whole herd, right? Again, I'll bring out all the Chinese and hieroglyph H word. And you see, these are all H, the 4 H sounds for hieroglyph. And Chinese has also different H sounds. And then the Arabic and also has 3 different H sounds. And actually, I can bring down an Arabic word to show you. And habl is actually rope, cord, or a bond, to bind something. And then kite is a more guttural H. It's actually mean thread or a string. As you can see, these are all, symbol and sounds of the thread itself. And this one, I actually made it up with the middle writing. As you know, the Arabic has 3 different ways of writing each alphabet. I joined the 3 together, and it actually looks like exactly what the hieroglyph will look like, as you can see. But as you can see, I lived, in a lot of Arab country. Every time I go to a marketplace, you will see that people selling herds of animals. They will be tied up in ropes like that. And this is Canada, again the South Indian language. As you can see, this is the symbol that you can see. So red is haga. It means a hang, which is a rope itself. And so, as you can see, a lot of the writing itself is actually visually telling people what they are looking at. They are not just conveying sound. And this word itself, it means heard, and also is closely linked with the H sound. And I just brought out the hieroglyph, writing for the whole herd right here. Can't you see the similarity of this hypothetic, H sound in Arabic? And okay, this one I'm sure you know because you see it almost every day on the street of Cambridge. So I want to let you know that nothing has ever changed. We still use this rope, this hang, this hobble to bring out the whole herd of little children to keep them safe on the street. So I still continued to tell you all this similar sound shared by all different languages. The Chinese has a word harp. Harp actually means a rope-like vine. It can mean a vine, it can mean a rope, So Arabic has this habl, means the rope, and Hebrew has the same, just different writing system. They all have the same sound though. And for this, when we say it, it actually brings out that mental image in our Chinese head. And for this, I'm sure it will bring out that mental image, for the Arab and the Hebrew people in ancient time, when they were still writing like in hieroglyph. And then these, what I'm showing you now, are different H sounds. The first one is Sumerian. The second one is hieroglyph. This one is Chinese, and this one is the Hungarian, Old Hungarian. All this H sound. And for this harp, I want to bring out an English word. If you look at this word, if I don't give you the context, it's hard for you to really know how to pronounce it or how you would understand it. But it's different. It will be different if I bring out this word for a Chinese. The Chinese with the visual, clue, we can actually tell that it means either rope or a vine. So if I bring out this, if you speak English, you know what I mean. It means a harp. A harp is all those vine-like plants for favoring the beer. But all these days, because of the standardization, because of TV, sometimes I actually hear a lot of people pronounce it as hope, you know. But I think the correct pronunciation should be harp itself, very similar to the Chinese, very similar to Arabic, very similar to Hebrew. But the television help you to change the sound into hope, okay? And then, and hope, of course, you know, you will mean jumping, the jumping motion when your legs are tied. And how about the Arabic word hubble? And from the Arabic hubble, it does, you know, bring out the word hubble in English. And of course, you know, this is exactly the same thing that you would see. And then for you, for the English speaker, it will be a rope and a strap for controlling your movement. And also hubble also means your jumping motion. Mind you, you jump, you can say jump. When you say jump, it doesn't indicate anything. But when you say when you hobble around, that has an indication that your legs are tied. So every word used, you know, has a very subtle different meaning. So I want to tell you that human understanding really has no boundary. A lot of the dead object, plants, animal can merge without a seam. It's very different from all the linguistic theory telling you that, you know, lineally, you know, a word changed to this word and changed to this word and changed to this word. No, a lot of the word actually cross a lot of boundaries. And from objects to plants to animals, and every culture retain part of the original sound, and that's why I have to use different languages to show you what how we share the common sounds. And here I want to show you how the Sumerian crossed their boundaries. The Sumerian has a symbol to show a long and extent, and then I will bring out the actual, you know, image of a rope. You know, the Arab will say it as harp. You know, that for us, you know, the rope always is a symbol of a long and extension. And then somehow, you know, the Sumerian has a different sign, you know, meaning eternal and long lasting. We don't know what exactly this is. They just elaborate in the same, based on the symbol, and they just elaborate it to mean, you know, a lot of different additions, you know. So Halut in Arabic actually means eternal. And then, as you can see, vine actually become, you know, the symbol in the West, you know, for eternity and immortality. But then from vine, because of the shape, because of twisting thing, we easily link it to a snake. But you can see that the Sumerian also linked the whole thing to a snake, from long to extension to the snake. Actually, in Arabic, the word haya means a snake, and haya actually also means life itself. And in ancient time, you know, this is ancient Egyptian symbol of their royal snake. As you can see, the symbol of eternity has always been there. And either you use the rope or the vine or the snake, for the ancient, it all means something about eternity. So perhaps there's a reason why the H word is so important, and why the ivy is being named Hedera helix. You know, helix, you understand that is a twisting thing. But why is it called Hedera? Because, you know, in ancient hieroglyph, the height actually means eternal, eternity. As you can see, all this rope, the snake and everything all goes down to mean eternity. So it's a very different way of understand for the ancient and for now. And now I using the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph, I want to show you that you actually see in ancient writing every single day of your life, you know. And I'm sure you are familiar with this thing. This has been used, you know, for decoration, for border, you know, for thousands of years. And how do you look at this? This is actually the H sound, and this is actually to do with the twisting of a thread. And how about this for you to use as a border? And a lot of the things, when you look, a lot of the times, you know, when you look at a lot of pictures, you know, they don't carry writing, but they do have a lot of
plants, animals. And for a lot of the people, actually it's telling them a lot of messages. Only that because now we depend so much on writing itself, we no longer read objects. All these objects were telling you something. So why is the ivy so common? Because for the ancient it means eternity. And now because of the development, and as you can see, the border become more and more fancy. But as you pay more attention, all this twisting, the figure of 8 infinity sign is still around, still there. So all we hope for is infinity, eternity, fecundity, abundance, and longevity in life, because infinity, eternity is kind of abstract. But for us in the real world, all we want is fecundity, lots of children to continue on, abundance because of then we have wealth, and longevity so that we can enjoy life. So because time is running out, I want to show you. Chinese actually have this 3 figure to represent these 3 different things. This is fecundity with the child, and abundance with this person with the official title, and then the longevity represented by this old man itself. And then the Egyptian will be representing by a figure also. So whether the Chinese seeing this figure and the Egyptian looking at this figure, we all understood the same thing, that what we want as a human being, that is longevity. But then the interesting thing is that the transcription into writing in modern English, you will see that they try to transcribe into